Hello, hello. Let's see. Hello, hello. Okay, we are live. We are live. I am late. It's okay. I am so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be able to present this workshop to the She Sits at His Feet community. I am thrilled to share my creativity, my love for creating, both through writing and art. Um, I am so excited. I love poetry. Poetry is so awesome. And so I hope you really enjoy, this workshop. It's hopefully not going to be too long. And I will share like a little ebook later today so that you can have it for future use. Okay. My name is CicelyRenee, and I have a ministry called She Sits at His Feet, as well as a creative wellness project. And basically, it's a Christian creative arts ministry and Christian lifestyle ministry. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue. So let's see. So I am CicelyRenee. I am an artist, an author, and an educator. I love teaching, I love creating, and I love bringing that to, people, women, men, children, groups, one-on-ones. Like, it brings me joy to be able to create and share that with other people. I am a believer in God, of course. This is a faith-based, but it's just really cool that He is the original creator, the creator of creators. And I love that He just is such a beautiful God. And we definitely can never, like, really truly grasp how amazing His creativity is. But I'm here to try, do my best and enjoying and marveling and worshiping Him and His what He has done for us, through us, and what we can see. So I'll just start off in prayer real quick. Father God, I thank you for this time. I pray over this workshop. I pray that you allow us to see your word in a creative way because you are creative, God. I pray that you allow these words to meditate through our hearts and allow us to be able to tap into a creativity. Allow us to feel free to create with you. And I'm thankful for all the people who will join this. I pray over them and their lives and their family. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. All right. So I know, there's a lot of poems in the Bible. There's a lot of poetry in the Bible. It's beautiful. It's really dope. I love reading it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'd just be throwing snaps. And because I'm an English teacher, I notice, a lot of different techniques that, the poets use. And so I won't go into too many, but here's an example. So we know that we have our poetry books, but we also know that poetry is throughout the whole entire Bible. And so I'll just read this one. This is Isaiah 40, verses 28 through 31. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And so that's a poem. It's a beautiful poem. And when people are writing poems, they're expressing their feelings, their experiences, what they believe, and of course there's a lot of poetry where, there's a lot of negativity attached to it. But I am, I love God and I love how beautiful He is, and I want to, worship Him with my words. And I'm hoping that this encourages you to worship Him with your words as well. And you don't have to be a writer, but you can share. You can speak. You got words. You you can put those together in a way that is, perfect for you and God, right? And so when you write this poetry, it does not, you don't have to share with the world. It could just be something that you do as a way to, in your praise and worship, as a way to reflect on the goodness of God. Think about all of your blessings that God has blessed you with. And so I just encourage you to, try at least, take time out, maybe once a week, to write a poem. And it doesn't have to be a specific technique. It can be a free verse, which means you just write. And a free verse could be a letter, a free verse could be a song. So don't feel like you have to or write in a specific way, okay? All right, so let's continue. All right. So today we're gonna focus on acrostic poetry, and this is one of my favorites. It's a really cool way to begin, especially if you are new to writing poetry. So acrostic poetry is a unique and creative form of poetry where the first letter of each line spells out a word or a message when read vertically. And I will show you one of the ways that I do it, as well as one way in the Bible. But then I'll also show you another one as well. But so it just gives extra meaning, right? And so each line contributes to the overall theme. So you'll have maybe a word or a phrase, and whatever that means to you, you will, display that in your writing, and it's about that first letter, right? So the first letter of each line spells out a word or a message, okay? And so I'm going to give you guys an example right now, okay? So, one of my favorite chapters in the Bible is Psalm 119, which is the longest chapter ever. And I think it's about 180 something verses. But we are not going to look at that whole thing. We are not. But we are going to enjoy the first part of it. And so 119 is an acrostic poem. And basically, it is divided into 22 stanzas. And so my poem that I'll show you, it's in a stanza form. And so it's based off of the Hebrew alphabet. So it starts with the first letter or the letter of the Hebrew letter. And so, of course, it's not, the English alphabet, because that's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We have different ones. So if you want to learn Hebrew, please do that. I am not going to, maybe one day, but we will read the beginning of Psalm 119. So this is Aleph, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his statutes and seek him with all their heart. They do no wrong, but follow his ways. You have laid down precepts that are to be fully obeyed. Oh, that my ways were steadfast in obeying your decrees, then I would not be put to shame. When I consider all your commands, I will praise you with an upright heart. As I learn your righteous laws, I will obey your decrees. Do not utterly forsake me. Okay, so with that being said, this is not in Hebrew. And so, if you read this in Hebrew, it would make probably more sense about the Aleph, and you would have to understand Hebrew too. So, but this is an example. All right. All right. So this is oh no, I'll go into tips first and then I'll show you mine. So what you want to do is choose a word or a phrase, right? And so you can select a meaningful word related to faith or personal experience. And then I want you to brainstorm ideas. So one thing I like to do is just kind of write a whole bunch of words, right? Just like strong words and, words that have impact, right? Um, thoughts or scriptures that relate to each letter of the chosen word. That will be really good. So what you could do with that is like, you have your word, find a verse that, relates to it. And I'll show, I don't have the specific verses, but if you know your Bible, you'll be able to see some of the verses that I wrote in my poem. And so I, when I write my Christian poetry, I definitely use scriptures to, help, or it's the foundation of my poems. But yes, and so you would relate it to that particular word or thought or letter, right? The next one is to write and refine. So you want to write it and make sure the message is clear. And so you can refine it, rewrite it over and over, add words, remove words. If this is just fun for you, don't feel like you have to do a lot of refining, right? Just as long as it's clear to you, it's good to go, right? And then the last one is to use imagery and emotion. And so vivid descriptions, right? So you're using your five senses, right? You're hearing, tasting, seeing, feeling, allowing those descriptions to be felt or seen when people are reading it or when you're reading it, right? What are your feelings, right? Your emotions. Is it sad? Is it glad? Is it angry? Is it, joyful? Like, so making sure that you're expressing it in a more visual way, I guess. All right. All right, so the next thing is my poem. So I'm not going to read this whole poem because it is a very long poem. And so my word or phrase is Elroy, the God who sees me. And so each stanza is for each letter. And so you do not have to write it like this. Like I don't know why I thought, writing a stanza would be the best. I could just use one line. But anyway, so like the first letter has to be for the letter in whatever letter we're working with, right? And then some of the stanzas that I use the same letter multiple times. So, like this M, it says, many try to compete, making idols in their own power, meaningless, motionless, worthless, rotting wood. But my God, mighty, majestic, my Messiah, my Maker, greater is He that is in me than He is in the world, than He that is in the world. And so I use a lot of M's, which is alliteration. And so that is using the same letter or sound in a short amount of space. So like in the same line or the same stanza. And so that's another technique you guys can use. So using words with the same letter. Another one, so I'll start a little bit. I like the S. So seeds that were planted now sprout fruit. Seeds of forgiveness, love, mercy, kindness. Seeds planted by the prayers of my mother. Seeds you planted in me long ago. And so we use seeds that start with an S, but also repetition. So um, that's another poetry technique or creative writing literary technique. Okay, so repetition just means that it is serious for you. Like you want people to know what this is. So when you repeat something multiple times, you might want to pay attention, or that's what you're telling people to pay attention to. So these seeds, what are these seeds about, right? Let's see. Um, we can go to, so we have the E-L, so L, and then Roy, R-O-I, and then T. So I'm telling a story, and if you want, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it's there so you can read it. And I am going to put it in a book. So, yes, one day you'll be able to see it. And I think it's just an amazing poem. It's about my life of just going through, life and experiencing, trying to do everything on my own. But then just knowing that God was watching and protecting me throughout the whole entire time. And then He pulls me close and it's just a beautiful poem. I might be a little biased, but that is cool. That is cool. Hey, Delisha. Hello, hello. All right, so the next page here's one that's not as, thick. So the stanzas, you got the stanzas, but you can also just do one line at a time, right? And so this one is faith. And so, forgiven by grace, we stand in awe, always trusting in God's perfect law. In times of joy and moments of strife, through every season, He guides our life. Hope eternal, our anchor secure. Faith in His promise, steadfast and pure. So we have faith written down the line, so, you know, vertically, right? And then we also, the last line is faith. So it's basically your summary, your conclusion, right? We're talking about faith here. So you can do that. And, a lot of times, when you guys are in school, well, with the kids, when you were in school, they would be like, okay, write a poem based off of your name. So you would put your letters and then you would say, I'm courageous. So for Cicely, courageous, interesting, cool, exciting, lovely, and Uranus or something like that. And so that's an acrostic poem. So, I mean, if you want to, you can start off by writing an acrostic poem with your name, right? All right. So, but I also have a challenge for you. I want you guys to write your own poem as well. And you can write it, you can write whatever you want. But this one is, writing a poem using the word love based on 1 Corinthians 13. And it could be in stanza form, it could be in line form, it could be one word per, letter. This is your poetry. There's no right or wrong. I mean, in order for it to be an acrostic poem, you just want to make sure that letter is begins that line or stanza, okay? And I would love to see it. I would love to read your poem. So if you are in my group, She Sits at His Feet, definitely make your poem and put it in the chat or the group. But if you are on social media and then if you put it online, go ahead and tag me. It's underscore She Sits at His Feet underscore or CicelyRenee blog. But yeah, you will be able to find me. And so I am excited. But also, me and Nathaniel, uh, we have a group called Poets and Praise, and it is a virtual open mic. Okay, and we do a Bible study, and we also, have an open mic for people to share their writings. And so, if you do write a poem, an acrostic poem, I would love for you to come and join us. And it is Wednesday, July 31st on Zoom at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so the theme this month is called Free Indeed, okay? Let's talk about how free we are when we come to Christ, all right? And if you want any more information, definitely reach out to me. You can email me, and if you need my, you can DM me on the socials of medias or even in the group, okay? So do you plan on writing a poem? I want to know. Put it in the comments. Say, yeah, I'm down for this challenge. I want to see what you got, okay? All right. I pray all is well. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm about to get this day started. I have a lot going on and I'm so excited. All right. Peace and blessings.